Gore joked about giving a global warming speech on the coldest day of the year, but not everyone appreciated the former vice president's comments. Conservative think tank Competitive Enterprise Institute issued a statement calling his comments alarmist, quoting a CEI spokesman, quote, "Because of his reputation as a boring technocrat, most of the public is still not aware of the loony extent of Gore's green ideology," end quote. Chuck, a little feistiness here today.
Dr. Lashoff is saying we need a different energy source. He says not coal, not fuel, not nuclear power plants. Wind.
Magic technology. Magic technology.
Is wind reliable, or is that just like weather? It sort of happens.
Well, wind energy is only one of many sources that we have available to us.
The Greens always tell us that the environment is too important to be politicized, and then they immediately turn around and politicize it.
Look, the fact of the matter is energy is the engine that drives the economy. We are increasingly efficient.
We hear now from a champion of free enterprise and limited government. He doesn't think much of any regulations, especially those that affect the environment. You should be feeling very good. Your side has won.
My expectations are much, much higher than that, Bill.
Americans are basically making less than $35,000. Michael, not everyone can afford the kind of cars that you can afford right now. You live in upside New York. We're not all wealthy like you.
Yeah, I'm not wealthy.
You're wealthy, Michael. Compared to any American watching this show, you're wealthy.
Mr. Kasdan, let me go to you. You feel as if the SUVs and their owners are being made scapegoats. Explain that to me.
Exactly. In fact, the term SUV has come to stand for scapegoat utility vehicle.
Why don't you tell us how that works?
Well, the biggest factor right now is the underlying price of oil. But in addition to that, we have a number of regulatory requirements. And as a result of these requirements, we have a number of specialized blends throughout the country.
Connecticut has $0 out of the hundreds of millions of dollars it's gotten. $0 is budgeted to tobacco control in the current fiscal year. I think Mr. Blumenthal ought to get his own house in order before he starts to spark a public campaign. And if Connecticut won't come up with the money, let him go to his trial attorney friends who got $8 billion in payments and have them cough up some small change for this program.
Mr. Blumenthal, I want to let you respond to that, but first, can you just answer about what's happening to that tobacco money?
This week, the president has been considering the FDA recommendation to regulate tobacco as a drug and crack down on teenage smoking. It is already under fierce attack.
I think the FDA's lost its mind.
As a parent, I do not want my kids to smoke when they grow up. But I also don't want them to ride motorcycles or hang glide. And most of all, I don't want them growing up in the country where decisions about these activities are not theirs to make.
Does this country really need the Food and Drug Administration? Some Republicans in Congress want to trim government by eliminating it. What's at stake here? We asked NBC's Robert Hager to take a look.
We could tailor a system.
Why is this man, FDA Chief Dr. David Kessler, being mocked in an ad by a look-alike actor playing a pompous bureaucrat?
This agency today proudly announces its approval of this major new drug.
Answer, because the conservative group which paid for the ad says the FDA takes way too long to issue such approvals.
How many people died yesterday waiting for the government to act?
When FDA demands additional testing, even for as sensitive a population as children, it's adding additional hurdles to actually making those therapies available, which means it's denying patients access to new treatments.
We can either allow people to regulate us and tell us what we can eat, or we can have freedom of choice. That's really it. And I really prefer freedom of choice myself.
With powerful trial lawyers launching a tobacco-style legal attack against burgers and fries, and with talk of a fat tax on certain foods, the fast food industry is clearly worried.
Under the people who are attacking fast foods, these are deadly assault weapons.
Matt Smith, munching on Oreos, about 2 grams of fat each, promotes free choice.
Demonizing tobacco is one thing. We're now demonizing food. We're demonizing automobiles. We're demonizing energy use. And anyone who doesn't take the trial lawyer serious hasn't looked at the settlements in those areas.
Recycling is supposed to save money and resources, right? But if it really saved money and resources, you'd be paid for doing it. That's the way money works. But it costs you $8 billion a year. That's your $8 billion.
And the whole idea of recycling is there's a net profit to the government. Well, for 15 years, New York has had a net loss. This year, it's close to $33 million. It's a significant sum.
That's more money than I have on me.
So what happens next now? With XP is out there, does it make the case harder to settle, easier to settle, or what?
Well, I think the important thing is that Microsoft has gotten past a big hurdle. One of their biggest worries was that XP would be stopped. There'd be some sort of a court order saying you cannot release it. It has to stop in its tracks. Now they have that out before the consumers. People presumably will be buying it. They'll be using it. That's good for consumers, good for Microsoft.
One of the things I love about you is you're not afraid to defend the indefensible. Help us out. What's your home phone number? Could you broadcast it on TV so everybody can call you and bother you at home because you're not 232-4009.
Call at any hour of the night.